Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about a club from Gibraltar which reached for the first time in their history a group stage of a European competition. The club that we'll be talking about today is a club called Lincoln Red Imps Football Club. So if you want this, just before starting to talk about this club, if you're liking the content so far, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to hear me talk about more other clubs and a little bit of football in general. I'm just talking about these clubs right now since they're making history and I feel like this is the appropriate time to be talking about them. So without further ado, we're going to try to talk a little bit about this. So Lincoln Red Imps are a club that are located in Gibraltar. They were founded in 1976 and they play their games in the Victoria Stadium, located next to the Gibraltar Rock in Gibraltar, of course. One thing regarding the Gibraltar League is that every single club that plays in Gibraltar, they have to share the same stadium. So Victoria Stadium is the home ground for every club in the Gibraltar football leagues, the first division and the second division. So nobody has, sort of speak, no club in Gibraltar has home advantage. Basically, what's happening in Gibraltar is that this is a new club. This is a club that has been reaching new grounds in the history of European football. With this, what happened yesterday was that Lincoln Red Imps qualified for the first time to a European competition. They qualified for the Uefa Europa Conference League after defeating Riga Football Club from Latvia. They went through on penalty shootout, and now they're qualified to the group stage. We're gonna get ahead in that for just a few moments. Right now, we're gonna talk a little bit about the history of the club. It has a big history, but I'm not gonna go very deep on that. So basically, Lincoln Red Imps are probably the most prestige team in Gibraltar. They have a total amount of 24 league titles. They were the first team in 2014 to be part of a European competition after Gibraltar was the last football association besides Kosovo. They were the 55th association to be part of the European competitions. As usual, they would have to start on the first qualification phase. So Lincoln Red Imps would be starting on the first qualifying round in 2014. Lincoln Red Imps are named after this because was a member of the club that was also part of the Lincoln City football team. So this team was named after a football club in England, which is Lincoln City Football Club. They play, I believe, in the 4th or 5th division. No, not 5th, probably 3rd or 4th. I think they actually were promoted recently in the English football pyramid. And the nickname for the club is the Imps. They are called the Imps. So basically, the name of the club right now, Lincoln Red Imps, is basically Lincoln because of the name of the city from which this founding member was part of, and the Red Imps, which is the nickname of that club, which also is the nickname for this club. So currently the full name of the club would be Lincoln Red Imps Football Club. They even adopted the colors as they wear red and black and white, and they even have an imp in the logo of the football club. Right now, regarding their European history, as I said before, they started their European competitions in 2014. As they won the league that year, they went to the first qualifying phase of the UEFA Champions League. They were knocked out by a Far East team, which is HB. They tied 1-1 on the first match, but then they lost 5-2 on the second match. And the next year, things were a little bit better as they qualified again for the UEFA Champions League, and they actually got through the first qualifying phase as they were drawn with an Andorran team called FC Santa Coloma. They went through, and then they were knocked out by a Danish team, which is FC Midtjylland. So that would mean that the European campaign was over, as in that time clubs that were knocked out on the first qualifying phase or second in the Champions League would not be transferred to the Europa League. In 2016, actually, it was one of the biggest moments of probably the best game in the club's history. In 2016, on the second qualifying round, they were drawn to Celtic from Scotland. And at home, the first leg was at home, and they won 1-0. So Lincoln Red Imps won against Celtic. The champions from Gibraltar won against the champions from Scotland. And it was a massive result for the Gibraltarian football, as they're not very they're not very experienced with European football, and winning against a team that has been winning European trophies before, it's a massive result for them. However, in the second leg, they were actually knocked out, as in Celtic Park they lost 3-0, so that would mean that they were knocked out. They've been qualifying almost every year for a European competition, whether it's Champions League or Europa League. And this year, in the last year, they won the first division from Gibraltar, and they actually started the European campaign this year on the Champions League. They won on the first qualifying round to FC Folaesh from Luxembourg, and they were then drawn against Romanian team CFR Cluj, and they lost, so they were transferred to the Europa League. In the Europa League, they were drawn to a Slovakian team, which is Slovan Bratislava, and they were again defeated. So then, from Europa League, they would then be transferred to the Europa Conference League. In the Conference League, they were drawn to Latvian champions Riga Football Club. They won after being in front on the penalty shootout, and Lincoln Red Imps would actually be on the group stage of a European competition for the first time ever. I think it is massive for the Gibraltarian football, due to the fact that Uefa gives a prize money for every team that participates in the group stage. I think that in the Europa Conference League will be 2.5 million euros. So for a club of like Lincoln Red Imps that are participating in Gibraltar, for a team that usually gets part-time players, this is massive for them. They were drawn into a group with FC Copenhagen from Denmark, PAOK from Greece, and again Slovan Bratislava from Slovakia. So they were going to be playing against each other twice. I want them to get a few points. I think it's going to be extremely difficult, because even though they won a few games, playing against Copenhagen, playing against PAOK, trying to get a decent amount of points for them to go through, I think it's very unlikely for a club like Lincoln to go ahead and get to the next stage. I think it's very difficult for them. I think it's going to be huge for them. But I think that the experience, I think that the possibility for them to play European football on a much more regular basis, for the fans as well, they're going to be seeing their team. They're going to be hosting more teams from Europe in their stadium. I think it's going to be great for them, since the Victoria Stadium has been renovated. So I believe that the Victoria Stadium is going to be available for European games, because in the previous years the stadium was not up to UEFA standards. So what happens is that the Gibraltar teams would have to play in Portugal in the Estádio do Algarve in Faro, which is the south of the country, very south of the country. So I think that right now it can be a massive experience for the players and for the fans. And I'm rooting in a way. I know it's going to be extremely difficult for them, but I hope that they can at least pull some decent results. So I don't have much to say. If you like the video, please drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more channels. I promise that this gets better. This is just my experience on making videos talking. I promise that the quality will get better. And leave your comment, leave your feedback on the video, and tell me if you have other clubs that you want me to talk about, if you have any ideas for other videos. Okay, thank you very much for your time. See you next time.